organizations is to overschedule them. People running organizations like this would go off the agenda and then randomly cut it in half. We would all be better served. But I do appreciate the invitation to come and join my fellow and sister delegates. It's obviously been a strong record of advancement. And those of us who have been active in this fight for full legal equality and will continue to be, I think not indefinitely, because I think we are on the verge of winning very substantially. But I want to make it very clear, the fact that the momentum is on our side and that we are going to be winning and we keep doing better at a faster pace than I thought is the opposite of a reason to slack off. A good general puts on the pressure when the enemy is slipping. And on the verge at the federal level, getting full legal equality for those issues that are federal. With the right selection of presidents, we will get a Supreme Court that I believe will at some point recognize marriage rights nationally. Until then, we will fight this state by state and we will win more and more states, and it's a virtuous cycle. As more and more states allow people to marry as they should, it will be harder and harder for the bigots to argue that something unsettling is happening. Reality defeats prejudice. Prejudice is based on ignorance, and we are doing a great deal to undo that. The most important thing to know about this convention, people have talked about how much conversation there's been about LGBT rights, but for those of us who've been around for a while, the important point is how little conversation there has been. There's been no debate about it. There's been no argument. There have been no people telling others that if they treat us fairly, that'll somehow drive the party into defeat. There is a recognition. This convention, this platform, is both a statement that advances our cause, but a reflection of what's already been done. Now, the last point, though, is this. I am told by some that we should not make our rights to fair treatment a partisan issue. We didn't make it a partisan issue. Don't you want there to be Republican support? Of course I'd like there to be Republican support. I'd like to be able to eat more and not gain weight. I'd like a lot of things. But until they become a reality, I can't act on them. And people have said, well, you want to bring the Republicans along. You do not change behavior by rewarding it. I hope people will say to the Republicans, yes, when you begin to be supportive of us, we will be supportive instead. But now I read the head of the log cabin Republicans, incredibly to me, and media people have told me this is what he says, Mr. Cooper, that it's a great advance because the Republicans are not as virulent in their opposition. They're not bashing us anymore. He says it feels a sense of acceptance in Paul Ryan because Ryan will engage with them. Well, let me say about my Republican colleagues, the fact that a Republican member of Congress will engage with them is not relevant. When he's ready to engage to one of us, then I'll feel a little bit better. Strides last year with the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell in the last Congress and then transgender inclusive hate crimes bill. As to DOMA, the next time the Democrats have the House and the Senate and the presidency, which I hope will be next year, we'll get it repealed, even if although I hope the Supreme Court will have done it first. The House voted on DOMA earlier this year on a motion by Representative from Iowa, a man named King, who is notable for the fact that he is deeply prejudiced against every group of which he is not a member. The Republicans voted for it 98%. The Democrats voted against it 91%. One of the guys who voted against us has since been defeated in the primary, maybe before. So the partisan difference is very strong. And I, as I said, wish it would be different. But right now, until and unless we get Democratic control of all three branches, we make no progress. And I can understand, and let me address this from some of our Republican friends, colleagues, etc. If someone wants to say to me, look, LGBT rights aren't that important to me. They're less important than taxes. Often the people saying that are wealthy white gay men. And in their case, if you're a wealthy white gay man, you live in New York, you live in Massachusetts, you probably have most of your rights. You don't have all the tax benefits, but you don't need them. And in fact, if you're worried about tax benefits, you get more from Romney than you'll get from same-sex marriage, so even tax benefits take you away. If someone wants to tell me that there are issues that are more important to them, for instance, there are economic issues, and that's why they want to vote Republican, I don't like those values, but that's at least a logical statement. There are other issues that are more important to them than LGBT rights. But anyone who argues that voting for Republicans, a party that has gotten worse and worse and worse, as the country has gotten better and better, that somehow advances our rights, is just nonsensical. And when people tell me that they find acceptance in a Paul Ryan who has voted against us in every single instance, except when he voted for the anti-discrimination bill, only after voting first for a recommittal motion that would have killed it. So he gave us what my father used to describe as ice in the winter. People who give you ice in the winter are not giving you any great food. When they tell me that they can feel comfortable about supporting Republicans because the Republicans are not calling us as many names, or fewer Republicans are calling us names, and because Paul Ryan's willing to talk to them and be civil, while opposing virtually everything that would give us full legal equality, I have to say I've been hearing for more than 20 years that this Republican approach is going to bring us gains. In fact, during the existence of the Log Cabin Club, they've gotten worse and worse and worse. Gerald Ford was better on LGBT issues than any Republican presidential nominee or presidency. So I have to say, and now let me speak as a politician. I helped form the Stonewall Club because I wanted to have two missions. To preach LGBT rights to the Democrats, but to preach being a Democrat to the LGBT community. Not for partisanship's sake, but in our own right and self-interest. Now, I believe those of us in this fight, 15 years from now, are going to be able to look back and say, you know, we pretty much won, but only if we keep working. And that means now, understanding that partisanship is a part of it. If the Republicans control either house, we don't get anywhere. And I have to say, I don't like to be harsh. That's not true. When they tell us that they're happy to be Republicans because they are getting acceptance and civility, I got to say that I am again inclined to think that they are called the Log Cabin Club because their role model is Uncle Tom. Thank you.